Hi, this is Johnny Bergen with another Chicago Blues guitar lesson. This time we're talking about one of the greatest two guitar performances of real Chicago blues ever. Little Walters Can't Hold Out Much Longer. This is by request from one of my guitar students. Great request. By the way, the flip side of the single is Juke, so this is truly a record that changed the world. And we'll have to come back and do Juke later. So this has Muddy Waters on the bass lines and Jimmy Rogers on the lead. And the way it all interweaves, and as Jimmy Rogers would say, fill in the cracks, is so beautiful. It's in G. I've got my capo on the 3rd fret. And I'm just going to call things E chords, A chords, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, because it's a lot easier. I mean, if you put on your capo, then just think about this as an E chord. And this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I've been playing this song wrong all this time. I always did this, which is not what happens. Muddy Water starts right on the 1, and I love the groove on this song. It creates all this space, because the beat is like da, 2, da, 2. So the beat's on the 1. It's just cool. So I'm going to back up a little bit so I can reach my looper and hope for the best. 2, 3, do, 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 do. Just walk it up with single notes. He snaps into the 2. All right, there's a lot of stuff to talk about there, and I'll just sort of run down some of the things that happened before I go on to the Jimmy Rogers part, or at least a lot of it. So much to talk about in this song. The main thing is a real deliberate walk, and it's single notes. He's playing single note bass lines. He's not really doing chords, which is another way to do it. I'm calling this a chord, which is kind of a loose term of chord, but like it's usually not 2 notes at once. It's usually 1 note at once. And he's got this way of snapping into, he's like walking with a purpose. You could slap into it like that with a hammer on, or you could just slide your finger. And then you snap into the next chord. And just go ahead and reach your pinky out, 5th fret up. That's nice. He does that a lot. And then he does this kind of big billism. This is a great way to finger it. Start with your 3rd finger, 4th fret, 2nd finger, 3rd fret, and then you got to slide your 2nd finger down. And then your 1st finger is ready to go on the 1st fret of the D string. And then you do your B chord. They both play the B chords like this, and it doesn't get in the way. It's okay. Occasionally, they mostly play very different things, but occasionally they play the same thing, and then they separate again. And it's all right. And then he snaps in and plays one of the greatest licks of all time. This is a true Muddy Waters bassline classic. Dig this. I'm going to do it again because this is important. Just feels good with your fingers. You sort of walk up as normal. And now you got your pinky up 5th fret up. Tug it a hair, just a hair. And then open D string. And then you slam down to the 1. Yeah. And usually he does the Muddy Waters turnaround, But the first time around, he does something really amazing. He goes, which it's like the inside of an E7 chord. Open A string, second fret, and then open D string. See how it's the inside of the E7 chord. Then first fret, which is what he does on the intro. Notice that intro is done differently 3 times. Something like that. I'm messing it up. That's first one. Second one's a little bit turned sideways. You got to get the second, and then first. So he's just a master of the bottom 3 strings of the guitar. And then every once in a while, he'll play an E7. Oh, he'll play the E7 before he goes to the 4 every once in a while. And that's another example where they kind of meet and then separate again. So now let's talk about what Jimmy Rogers does. Switch to my fingers, okay? And then that pretty chord. And if you listen real carefully, you can hear him playing the bass lines like that. And now, on this part, he's kind of like his muddy shadow, playing real quiet. Then he steps out a little more. When Muddy's walking up, he's walking down with the top part of the A7th chord. I'll just play, then I'll talk. Here's the famous lick. Let's try it again. Yeah. Wow. So let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah, I made a few mistakes. There's so many great harmony moments in this song. Like when Muddy's doing this, and he'll go, well, I can't sleep at night. All it is open B string and the second fret. But this is like what Muddy's doing on the bottom strings, he's doing on the top strings, So he's sort of shadowing Muddy at the intro. And then he really steps out with open E string and then the second fret. If you can get one thing out of this lesson, see if you can get this. He does this in Gold-Tailed Bird and all these beautiful songs too. And go ahead and shadow yourself with the low E strings with your thumb. Just doesn't sound right with a pick, It sounds kind of hollow compared to this. You know I'm crazy. Then you got the top part of your A7th chord, right? 3, 2, 1 on the open E string. Second fret, B string. It almost sounds like a metal finger pick there, but I haven't seen any pictures of Jimmy Rogers with a metal finger picks, and you can certainly get by with your fingers. And then he does that amazing lick, which is the same thing in the stumble, just simpler and slower. Oh, They've always have that rhythm over the 5. Do 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 do. You know, and then you might hear the other thing he does over the 4 there. Something really similar to that. Now step out. They sort of meet, now separate again. Ah, I'm going down, he's going up, right? And then let's play that pretty chord. It's like a D7th moved up to the 4, 3, and 4. Yeah. I got to shout out to Dave Waldman. He taught me so much about how to play this style, and he played it great on this record, Big Wheeler's Bone Orchard. And it's just a 2-guitar record with this kind of a playing. And once you really get the hang of it, you know, you can just sort of play it for days, it seems like. But let's talk about this lick. This is the famous lick. It's kind of like Sweet Home Chicago or the Stumble. You're at the 15th and 13th fret. And this is over the 4 chord. It sounds really good. So see how that's like a 7th chord? If you're in G, that's your 7th. Then this is kind of a bedrock lead blues thing. If you're in G, it's going to be 13 and 15 on the E and B strings. Move it down to 12 and 13, and then down 2 more frets, 10th fret and 11th fret. Then, and if you play that with the open 4 chord, you know, this A string here, it sounds real pretty. Now you're halfway there. Now you have to use open strings. Ah. And then I landed on the E chord, right? Just doing a 2-finger E chord. So I did open E string, open B string, 3rd fret G string, 2nd fret G string. So it's stuff you know, but it's probably put together in a different way. And that's the other great part. And he sort of answers the vocal line. Here's something, baby, you don't understand. And there's that beautiful pause. It's almost like an abbreviation of this. But it's just an abbreviation. He doesn't have to play the whole thing. It's like, you know the rest of the story, right? Now let's go to Jimmy Rogers. You can do a little tug here on the 3rd fret. Now let's try the big lick. Sometimes when I do that, I like to put my 1st finger here on the middle of the E chord, just to Make it bigger. It's pretty. It's a little bit better than this, maybe. Ah, but it doesn't matter. That's the same stuff. It's like Robert Lockwood slowed down. You know, it's like, but it's slowed down and played in a pretty way because Jimmy Rogers played so beautifully. And then da 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 da. That's your rhythm on the 5 chord. It's not, you know, it's more. You can do a little drag there if you want to. That's pretty too, huh? Have fun playing this fabulous stuff. It's truly near and dear to my heart, and have fun putting it together. The looper's really great for this. Just do a real nice walk-in bass line. Use these uh, to get the percussiveness of it. Maybe you can even have someone just, you know, be a drummer. All they have to do is hit the one. You'll be amazed at the space that creates. So let me know your comments. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join me on Patreon, where we have a weekly group class on Tuesdays. A lot of fun, great folks there. And see you next time.